Holy, holy, holy. Divine light that is within is wanting to come out of the belief of being shrouded in identification of differences. The holiness that is within is available to shine with your yes, with your willingness to let the shield of defenses go, the perception of protection that comes in the form of knowing, the willingness to truly recognize there is nothing to know. Nothing to figure out, nothing to get a handle on, nothing that is not already in the divine perfection of God is needed to make sense out of. There is not a possibility, not a single possibility of making sense of an upside down insanity. You can try and try and try to control it, to make sense, to make logic, or to control it in some way, and yet it will never open to peace and harmony and joy. So why not now?
Mm-hmm.
Sink into resting in the light, the love, the harmony of God that is within, that is the truth of who you are, that is all that exists. Open, open, Holy One, to the light that is always present. Accept, embrace that you are the love and that you are loved. The willingness to embrace innocence, perfection, wholeness, and eternal life. Why settle for a teeny little world that is all about trying to control something that can't be controlled because it is fleeting? It's like trying to hold on to a veil that keeps moving and shifting, believing that one of these days you're going to figure out the formula. to control it. But in love, there is definitely nothing to control. In love, what would there be to control? All control, all the belief of control is only because you believe there is danger, because you believe in a concept, in a perception of danger and death. The calling of love is the calling to rest and trust that there is nothing to battle with. Opening the heart to invite all beloveds to rest with you, to step out of the attention to the body, to step out of the fixation on the temporary, and to focus all attention in the heart. Right now, right here, noticing where attention is and bringing it to the heart. The willingness to no longer be perceived deep within as a slave to a body that is constantly changing and constantly moving and holding all the beliefs of pain and suffering. Surrendering everything into the hands of God. All identity, all beliefs of where your comfort comes from. Opening the heart and accepting comfort, the ease, the peace, the tranquility and joy. That you are. In this moment, finding the willingness to breathe, breathing deeply and fully with all of humanity in this moment, but really bringing attention to the breath. Breathing deeply, feeling the breath go through the nose, into the lungs, down through the throat, into the lungs, into the heart, expanding into every cell, and recognizing there's nothing that needs to be controlled. Breathing. Are you breathing right now? Are you breathing through the nose and letting the breath out through the mouth? Or are you, is your mind saying, no, I'm going to be in control here? The I that believes there is a separate life. Breathing. Breathing in joy. And as you breathe in joy, letting the out breath release the day and all that you thought you knew about it. From the moment that you woke up this morning, the belief that you knew what was needed, what had to be done, how it should be, what it should look like, what your agenda was, what you decided was the way you wanted it to be, surrendering all of it, because all of that is the discomfort of the day. The I know, I plan, I do, I need. Surrendering. Breathing deeply and fully in the willingness to release. Breathing into the throat, inviting the throat to open, a willingness to receive love and be love and express love, nothing else. And breathing deeply and fully into the shoulders, noticing if there's any holding, any tension, releasing that into the hands of God, into love. And breathing deeply into the spine, surrendering the spine into the hands of God, every muscle, every tendon, every blood vessel, everything into the hands of God, not wanting to keep anything in separation as mine. Breathing. Breathing into the heart, fully and deeply saying, yes, open this heart, I am willing. I am willing for this heart to burst open, melt open. Take this heart and bring it into union. Bringing the heart forward, open and available. No longer willing and wanting to be defended through knowing. Opening. Yes, yes, to an undefended heart, an undefended life. Breathing into the belly, surrendering all the organs into the hands of God. No longer willing to keep any organs separate, anything within the body separate as mine. Surrendering it all, breathing deeply and fully, consciously, being present, aware in this moment. Staying focused on the breath, breathing. Breathing into this moment and noticing if the mind wants to wander someplace else, have a thought, bring attention to some time else, something else, and come back into this moment. This is where you exist. This is where love exists. No place else. This is where love, God, is in the moment. Breathing into the hips and thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet, all surrendered into God, all as the servant of God. Now breathing into the emotional body, surrendering the emotional body into the hands of God. Willing for the emotional body to be released from the identity with the mind. Recognizing that the emotional body expresses the belief of separation in all various ways of expression. But now willing to surrender the emotional body into the hands of God. Willing for the emotional body to express joy, tranquility, harmony, compassion, peace. Nothing to hold on to. And continuing to breathe fully and deeply into this moment's awareness that here in the infinite circle of love we are one. One. One breath and one heart. Willingness to surrender. Separate me into love. Coming home. Remembering. breathing. Breathing and trusting that here, in this moment, this sanctuary is filled with love. Love is all that exists. No thoughts, no conclusions, no concepts, no doer, just love, just light, just innocence, all that is. This universe is all of love. There is only one presence here. It is the life force of God. And within this life force, we live and move and breathe as one. One heart and one breath. And finding the willingness of the heart to receive in this moment. The yes to be transformed, allowing the transformation of love to permeate into every cell. The yes to join in transformation. The yes, the longing, the devotion. The yes. Yes to love, yes to peace. Yes to the miracle of love. This miracle of love that is delivered through your willingness to be present, your willingness to offer love, staying present, staying aware, breathing, allowing. Allow this prayer to be your heart. Allow this prayer to enter with divine alchemy into your heart, into your awareness that all that you want is to remember love, to come home to your true, exquisite, perfect oneness, returning. In this prayer, the word that is used is begging. And again, to remember that the begging is to bring your intention so fiercely into your heart that you truly want to be healed, that you truly want to remember the truth of love, that you don't want anything else, and that you are willing to drop, let go of all strategies, all knowing, and to be shown the way by love. Mother, I beg for your love. I beg you for your compassion. I beg you for your light. I beg you for the forgiveness. Help me in this darkness. Help me find your sun. Reveal the way to my light. Reveal the way to my Father. I'm a daughter of the Queen. I'm a daughter of compassion. Help me be in the light. Help me open my heart. Mother, I beg for your love. It could be said it's our love, but you're not in the awareness yet of that divine love. So you ask for that awareness. You ask to step into that light, into the truth, because it's all that you want. Help me in this belief of darkness, in this belief of struggle, in this belief of trying to control, in this belief of thinking I know, thinking I know how things should be and what they should look like and how they should be and how I'm going to control it more and more and more. And recognize the insanity of this old identity and step into the light. Step into the yes and join in the divine grace and the divine light of all love. But when you step into this light, this recognition of light, you leave all the suitcases of your knowing behind. You don't bring your identity with you. That is what gets shed. Thank God. And then all the pain and the suffering disappears, because only love remains. The truth, life, light. This prayer is called I begged. I begged, I begged, I begged. I begged for the Divine Mother to bring me to present myself to the truth of love and life. My divine God, Father of all love, I call for the recognition of forgiveness, of letting go of all beliefs of limitation and separation in this world of illusion. Divine light, Lord of my heart, open the doorway. I am willing to walk through that doorway and to leave this world of illusion. I say yes. I no longer am willing to defend the little world I made in separation. LPG, 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 my me deu, para me apresentar o divino Senhor Deus. Meu divino Senhor Deus, é o Pai de todo amor. Perdoai os vossos filhos neste mundo pecador. Jesus Cristo Redentor, Senhor do meu coração, defendei os vossos filhos neste mundo de ilusão. I begged, I begged, I begged. I begged because my heart needed to open to what I truly wanted. And begging was the closest that I could come to in this world of the deep, deep recognition within of what I truly wanted. Please, please, please help me. Where I cannot find my way, help me, help me, help me, help me. It's all that I want. So Hafiz is again visiting in the light of love. With an offering. One of the dumbest things you can do. One of the dumbest things you can do is backbite an animal or a human being. Reason is, besides the fact that an animal who is feeling grouchy that day might bite you back. Whenever you speak ill of any living creature, something of their shadow might fall on you. Some unwanted impressions of theirs could spill on your floor. And I imagine you are busy enough trying to keep things tidy. This is a call to stop and question before you express anything to anyone or even have any thoughts, to stop and ask, what is this for? What is this for? What am I believing that I'm going to try to get here? What am I believing that I'm needing? What am I believing that I have charge of? That I need to change something on the outside. What is spilling on your floor in that backbiting, as Hafiz calls it, is guilt and shame that has to be constantly cleaned up because it worries your heart. It follows you around and makes you nervous, makes you scared of the world because of the fear of retaliation. Why not just let it all go? And then there's nothing to fear because there's no guilt, there's no shame. Not that there was anything to be guilty about to begin with, but in your belief of battle and the need to control and be right and protect, there's so much worry. There's so much distress. That's where all the distress comes from. But the ego tries to convince you that if just the world would cooperate with you, there wouldn't be any distress. Except that the distress is coming from within and being expressed in the world that you see. It's your mirror of what you believe in. Thank God there's a mirror so that you can see it more clearly, or else it stays hidden so easily. Hafiz has offered another gift of love. Fiddling with the idiot and hopeful. Once, when I was fussing with my hair in front of a looking glass, my master walked by and said, "Hafiz, why are you always fiddling with the idiot?" You should starve him a day or two now and then. Simply don't look in the mirror. Once a week I started abstaining from vanity, no mirror. Then I went to twice a week, then 4 times. Then a little bird started to build a nest in my beard and let out melodious chants in the morning. It was then I realized I was probably onto something big and began walking around looking very hopeful. The healing comes in all forms. Everything that you are using to reaffirm that you are separate and that you need to protect yourself, including looking in the mirror, for sure. It's not that there's something evil in a mirror. It's that you believe that you need more protection And the vanity is a sense of protection. The vanity is about, I need to look a certain way in order to be loved. I need to look a certain way in order to be protected. I have an image to portray. I have a defense system to portray. And it's just looked at as if this was normal. Thinking all the time about what others are seeing or accepting. But that it doesn't show itself. It doesn't. The ego doesn't say, hey, look what we're doing here. The ego doesn't say, look at this great deceptive trick I'm doing. The ego puts it in a shrouded identity of this is normal and this is needed to constantly look at the idiot in the mirror, fiddling with the idiot. It isn't that the body is an idiot, it's that the relationship is. That you are believing yourself to be an idiot that has no other worth than something on the outside, when it means nothing other than allowing the expression of love to glow through. And the miracles when you step out. So when Hafiz is saying, and his master is saying, you should starve him a day or two now and then. Because then you can see the addiction. Then you can begin to see what is running behind the curtain. It isn't because it's bad, wrong. It's because it has no value. Because it's been made into an identity, a story, that believes it will someday get a payoff. And when Hafiz stopped looking in the mirror, and the glorious bird built a nest in his beard, then he recognized, when I let go, these are the miracles that can occur. And he became very hopeful. There's no hopefulness when you are determined to have your way of what the world is that you have built. There's no hopefulness there because it's what you've always known, and it keeps reflecting the past. It keeps reflecting everything that you've known, and so it feels very hopeless. The bird in his beard brought the hopefulness of, there's another way. I just in my habits, in my trance, I don't know that other way. I have to be shown that other way. I have to follow the teachings that have been sent to me, and the master that walks by and says, why don't you stop looking in that mirror and starve him a day or two, and you might find a new way. And listening to that offering and finding that new way and finding the hopefulness that, there is another way if I am willing to let go. If I am willing to no longer trust what I know. The trance state says, I wake up in the morning, I have an agenda, I follow the agenda, I go and look in the mirror, I do everything in the mirror, I make sure that everything is in order, and there's no question. What is this for? What's the purpose of this? What am I thinking I'm going to get from this? What would happen if I just took a marking pen and blackened out my teeth and painted on a mustache?
Mm-hmm.
Then what? Oh no, I have an image to protect and hold up to the world because it means so darn much. It's so important. Be the fool for love with a bird in your beard.
Mm-hmm.
This is about a letting go of this construct that says, this is how I am, this is who I am, this is what I know, and this is what I control, and this is what I do. What if the master walked by and said, have you got a calendar with a plan? Why don't you put that down too and let God lead you until you merge? Are you so afraid of having the bird in your beard or not having your plan? Today I eat eggs because I've always eaten eggs. Today I do this because I've always done this on this day. Today I do this because this is what I have decided is the way things should be. There was a sweet movie called Shirley Valentine. And steak was always on Tuesdays. Steak and eggs always on Tuesdays, until one day she said, oh, I think the dog next door needs the steak. And her partner came home and couldn't stand it because he had his steak on Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
That was his decision, his life, his belief that he was safe as long as he had his steak on Tuesdays. He didn't see that this beloved, not necessarily in her conscious awareness, was actually trying to help him by taking the mirror away, taking the planner away, taking his plans away. Because it's when those plans and those beliefs of how things should be are not there voluntarily, that's when the real healing can really move and flow. The ego, the illusion, will also be available to serve you if you choose to put the illusion into the hands of God, because it's transitory. It's always going to be changing. Try to think that you've got a plan, that something needs to be a certain way. No, this is the day I do this. This is the day this is the hour that I do this. This is the time, whatever. And the illusion will also serve you by not cooperating, because illusion doesn't cooperate either. But if you choose to question, you're not waiting for the ego, the illusion, to dictate your healing. You're making a choice. Why? What was the purpose of having that plan for today? What did I think needed to happen today to be right in my estimation? And who did I need to cooperate with that so that I could get my way of what I wanted? And when another beloved says, oh, what about having it this way? Could that beloved be offering something? Could anything be being offered if you could see it through the eyes of love and the eyes of letting go and trusting and allowing? Everything can serve love. Everything. Everything. There isn't anything that's really out of place, because everything that's showing up in your life is what you believe it is. So when you make a plan and then it's disrupted, that is the divine gift. Oh, thank you for letting me see where I thought I was in charge and that I needed to do things my way in order to keep myself safe and in charge. Believing that that control has anything but pain and suffering in it. You can't control the illusion. It's transitory. It moves and changes shapes all day long, constantly. And it is built on the belief of pain and suffering. So it's constantly not a happy place. And love doesn't have any reason to be controlled, because love is harmony, peace, and joy. So there's absolutely nothing that is helpful to be in control. It's not possible. Not possible. There's a description of the ego that says, all that the ego is an idea that it is possible that things should happen to the child of God without his will. The ego has you believing that things happen to you against your will, when in actuality it is your will that is joined with the ego that self-prophesies everything in your life. Whatever is showing up is what you believe in. How is it possible to step out of a nightmare into a happy dream? It's to trust that everything is for healing and that there is nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong, except when you are disturbed by what you believe you're seeing. Or you try to hold on to some plan that you have, some idea of how things should be, because you like things a certain way and you've given it your approval. But it doesn't stay the same either. So then you dislike it because it's not staying the same according to a plan. And this is where all the pain and the suffering comes from. You are busy enough trying to keep things tidy. Just the concept of keeping things tidy. It's really, what is this for? What could this possibly mean if it is not in service of love? But what if somebody moves it? I actually remember a day about 25 years ago that I cleaned the kitchen, and the beloved that I lived with came in and re-cleaned the kitchen, and then became upset because something was going to get cooked in the kitchen. Looks like insanity. But every thought that it should be my way, and I have a way, and I have a plan, and this is the right way, is all insanity. Complete insanity. Are you called to clean the kitchen for love? Or to give you a sense of order that you believe will make you feel better and safer? The call for love, to express love through cleaning the kitchen, is the same light of God as offering any love in any form. But it has no payoff. It is the love that is in awareness in the moment as the kitchen is being cleaned. It is the beauty and grace of that moment of offering love that comes through that form. And it has absolutely nothing to do with cleaning the kitchen to get something, to prove something, to feel safe, to accomplish something, to have your house in order so that you have an erroneous identity with safety, and that you believe that that would in some way, by having order, keep you in the feeling of being safe. But you never feel safe. There's always the underbelly of fear that is running. I can't keep this in control enough. Not possible. What if somebody moves something? I'll be in big doo-doo because my plan didn't work anymore. I am not trapped in the world that I see or experience, within or without. I am not trapped. You're only in the belief of being trapped because you want that belief of getting control. That's the trap. You're not trapped by it. You're using it as your weapon to control erroneously something that can't be controlled. You will never win. It's not possible. That's the good news. That's the light. That's the hopefulness. Oh, thank God, I will never win this old war. So I might as well quit.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not going to be won. You're never going to recognize that you are not a victim until you let go. It doesn't work the other way around. I'll hold on and you show me that I'm not a victim and then I'll let go? No. Because the identity of being a victim is completely held by the holding on, by the sense of being in control and the sense of needing control and planning and having ideas of how things should be and conclusions. And you think, how could I ever step out of this insanity? It seems so entrenched. Yeah, because it's in every cell of your being. Your belief of separation is in every cell, so it seems impossible. But it isn't about controlling the healing either. It's about inviting. I begged. Mother, I beg for your love. I beg you for the forgiveness. Help me to see the light. Help me to remember the light. Help me to recognize the light. Help me to let go. Help me. Where I cannot untangle my own identity, that's one of the most erroneous things, is that you're not going to untangle your own identity. That would be like saying, oh, just give me a knife and I'll just cut my arm off. You made that identity. You're not going to untangle it. The mind that made it can't untangle it. But the divine light of God, the light, the grace, the sweet perfection will transform anything that is offered to it. It is putting it on the altar and saying, take this. I'm done. I'm tired. I don't want to play the game anymore. I can't figure it out anymore. I never could figure it out. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do anything. When there is an expression that says, the child of God, you're called a child because this is all new. Because the innocence has to be refound, has to be recognized within. And you have to recognize that you haven't got a clue how to untangle this made-up identity. But all that you are asked to bring is willingness, and the willingness to question the validity of what you're making and doing. Just the willingness to join the light for a moment and say, oh, what was that for? And to bring that unconscious trance state of the belief of nightmares out of the unconscious into a conscious awareness of where the pain is coming from and what am I doing? What am I believing in? What am I choosing in this moment? When I am determined to have something my way, what is running that? What fear is being believed in this moment? What am I giving my life to? And I don't want this anymore. And the willingness to recognize that, just the willingness to trust that there is a divine alchemy, a grace, love that is wanting to transform, wanting the miracle to collapse the identity, time, everything. And in that moment, awareness comes into the light. Awareness within of, oh, there's nothing to do. There's nothing. I wasn't in danger. And also the willingness to trust, to really trust that you are not in danger, no matter what the evidence, no matter what your little mind is saying and your body is agreeing with, because the body just follows where the mind goes. Not willing to believe that anymore. Not willing anymore to give yourself to that. And to open to that grace. The grace of love. that is always, always here, always here. It is, can you put your trust? Can you trust that in this moment nothing is happening? Nothing is happening. Happening means that there's activity of some kind, that there's movement or something wrong, something missing, something needed, something in progress. Here in this moment, in this divine stillness, is all love, and this is where you exist, here. At first, even in wanting to stay present in this moment, you may be only able to stay a moment for a second, to stay in the present moment for a second. Because your whole life has been spent in the future and the past, in anticipation and in remembering. To be here is to release the future and the past, and to trust that here in this moment, in this divine stillness, is love. Here, if you bring your intention to be here in this moment, you will recognize that there is nothing out of order. There is nothing happening. There is nothing to do. There is nothing to figure out. And each moment unfolds into the next moment, the same moment. Moment, 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 moment. One of the major defense systems of the past and the future is the anticipation of pleasure. The anticipation of pleasure, of getting to the goal, of doing everything so that you get to the goal. It's very subtle, because if the ego just showed it to you that you're constantly looking for the end result, but the end result is always out there someplace, and the end result never satisfies, that pleasure can be in anything and is made out of everything. It can be the temporary satisfaction that says, I'm in control. I'm accomplished something. I'm done with something. Good. It's finished. I've done my job. I've completed something. I'm successful. Whatever it is. But it's always fleeting. It doesn't stay. Then you have to go on to the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and you're always in the next. You're not really here. There is an upside down fear of being here, of just being here. Being. That's why meditation is such a battleground most of the time, because it's about staying present and allowing to just be. And the mind wants to go, and grab, and no, not N-O, K-N-O-W. It's also no. So meditation can be looked on as a trial, a problem. difficulty. It's because of the resistance to letting go of the future and the past and just being. The fear of being. It's a fear of being. What will you do if you don't have your strategies? Because you've believed that that's your identity and that it keeps you really busy and really involved somehow. From the moment you wake up in the morning, you're thinking. I mean, imagine you may wake up and kind of look around, but the mind is already, whoa, okay, thinking. What if you first fill the mind with God? Fill the mind with the truth. There's only peace in this moment. There's only light. There's only love. Only love, only love, only love, only love. And you keep filling your mind with love, 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 love. Pretty soon the mind would give up its strategies because it would be bored with all those thoughts of God. Well, that's not very interesting because it's not about me. And I like thinking about me. What do I need? What is my life? What is I'm going to do? What is it going to look like for me? What plans am I going to make? What am I going to do with it? Where is it going to go? Me. That's what the mind does. There isn't a thought from the ego that is not about me. Even if it's about, it looks like it's about somebody else, it's about what is that if I do something for somebody else, what is it going to give me? How am I going to get rewarded for this? Even in a subtle way that you think you've got that God has a ledger that's keeping score on all your good deeds. Aren't I good? Aren't I holy? Doesn't this prove my worth? As if there was anything to prove. And it's all a distraction. It's all a game. Could you wake up in the morning and your first awareness is, oh, there is only the holiness of God. There is nothing else. There is only peace. There is only joy. I say yes, I say yes, I say yes, I say yes, I say yes. Mother, I beg for your love. I beg you for the compassion. I beg you for the light. I say yes. That's all that I want for today. This is nothing else. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to fix. I'm just here to learn to love. I'm just here remembering to love. Nothing else. Does the mind want to come in and, as Hafiz said, look in the mirror and play with the idiot? Yes, the mind wants to come in and play with the idiot. This is not an incrimination. This is seeing it for what it is, that it's all so silly. It's all so non-helpful to believe that that has an important role in your life. That anything that you are doing is actually important other than to remember love. That everything comes through that. It isn't that there's badness in the form, it's just what the form is being used for. If you're a surgeon and you are performing surgery to make an identity that feels better, and this is not love, it has no worth. It has no worth. It doesn't matter what you are doing, if it's not to express love, if it isn't without a payoff, there's no helpfulness in it. This seems stark. I mean, this seems pretty radical. It has no worth. No. It can't. You cannot serve two masters, and the illusion cannot bring anything that has really any value. So it's a spin that will never pay off. You'll get your little highs. Yeah, you will. You'll get your little highs. You'll get your little pleasure, satisfaction elements. But it will never last.
Mm.
It will never bring you to a place of joy or peace or harmony. It can't. And this is the purpose of questioning the approvals and disapprovals in the planning and the identity of what everything is for. Everything. I was remembering a story about Hafiz that his master told him to be in silence for a year or something. And when he was done, the master said, "Well, now go for 2 years." And he said, "Isn't there any end to this? Why do I have to keep doing this? What else do you have to do?" It's that yes, I beg for your love, and I don't want to do anything else with this life. I don't want to waste another moment in time without using it for its only purpose, which is to remember and to come home and to rest and to embrace freedom and to remember love, because it's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing else. It's who you are. It's what you are. God, love,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
beauty, perfection, light. Can't even put a name, a label on it, because it's so perfect and so whole and so holy. There's a beautiful teaching of Jesus that says, no spiritual teaching is about teaching you about love. It's really about just shining the light on everything that's in the way of love. Because love can't be taught. It's already whole and complete within you. It's just uncovering, letting go of the costumes, of the false identities, of the concepts, of the games, of the belief of pain and suffering, the belief of battle, the belief of separation. And even ultimately the letting go of all seeming goals about waking up, where you don't even care, you just want to be here in love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whatever awakening means, put that into the hands of God. And just love in the moment. Just as deeply, as fully, as a yes as you can bring, because that is self-love. The more you bring yourself to your yes, the more loving compassion you are bringing to your own heart. It is the expression of love that you have available to you is to want to heal and want to let go of what is not true, what is erroneous, what's made up. That is self-love. It isn't loving to be proud of your plans. It isn't loving to be enamored by your own image.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't loving to be believing that being in control has worth. It isn't loving because it isn't true. And this is about remembering love. And that is an element of love that is essential. It is the offering that you offer to your heart, to want nothing else. And to not only not want anything else, but then to take that want, that yes, and put it into manifestation where you are really questioning the validity of your choice in the moment. I could choose peace instead of this. I could choose love instead of this. I could choose the truth instead of what I'm believing in right now. What is this for? I just made an impulse decision to move in a certain way. What is this for? How is this serving? What's the agenda here? What's running this? I'm not willing to be a slave of that anymore. I'm willing to love. When I received that hymn, Mother, I beg for your love, and the words came, I'm a daughter of the Queen. I'm a daughter of compassion. I was very aware those were not my words, because there was nothing in me that could have written those words. But to accept that the Divine Mother was affirming, a daughter of the Queen, a daughter of compassion, and the humility of receiving that and living it, of no longer being willing to believe something else, to accept that love, to step up and be love. Not knowing how, not knowing the way, but accepting that this was the truth, and then letting go of everything that was not that. Letting go of all beliefs of arrogance, because this was not arrogance to accept. To accept the worth of your being is not arrogance. It is humility. To accept a false identity is arrogance, because it's fear. Arrogance is fear. To accept the love that you truly are, the magnificence that you truly are, is humble. Because you're accepting the truth. You're not accepting something that's more. You're already everything. And it takes great humility to accept that you are the light, the love, the beauty, the perfection, the innocence. The oneness. It takes great humility to accept that. It isn't arrogance. Arrogance says, no, I am this thing I made. There is an I that believes it has made a world that has something to protect and defend. That is the arrogance. And it is the arrogance of the ego that says, I want to do it my way.
Mm.
And it is the arrogance that says, I know, I know, I know, I know. And it is the humility that is able to say, I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know the mysteries of the world. I don't know. I don't know how healing occurs. I don't know. Just show me. Just show me, please. I'm willing. Is there an agreement in the world that says, I will never bend, I will never show my underbelly? Yes, there is an agreement in the world that believes in protection and believes in defense and believes in protection of every kind. I remember walking down the street, I've said this in Satsang before, I remember walking down the street one day and there was a cat, a little being that was on the sidewalk. And when I walked by, he turned over and exposed his belly.
Mm.
And it was such a beautiful offering.
Mm.
And this offering was, let every beloved turn over and open their belly. Expose the belly. You know, just expose the belly because nothing's going to hurt me.
Mm.
This is the same as exposing the heart. Exposing, like the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Letting it just all hang out and be available. Not afraid, just here I am. Come on. Expose the heart. Focus on exposing the heart. I spent, while walking in the journey, about a year, something like that, with a direction, being shown a direction to walk with my heart open and available and forward. And I could feel the pain of the screaming to stop doing that, to stop, and it became a physical pain. Pain in the front, pain in the back. Because it was so foreign to have the heart opened and available and undefended. Now, it wasn't the physical heart, but it was the symbolic, yes, the heart opening, that heart chakra, and being willing to be in the world and really live undefended, and no longer not wanting to be here. Was that purposeful for the belief that was being carried? Yes, because the belief that I carried was, I don't want to be here. I hate being here. I hate life. I hate this world. I hate being here, and I'm scared all the time. So the divine said, open your heart. Trust enough to open your heart and walk in the world with your heart open as you possibly can in the moment, to bring attention, to be focused on walking, being, sitting with the heart open and available. And when the old habit would start to come in and pull back, No, come, where are you? Where's your attention? Come back, open the heart, be present, available. Let it be exposed. Nothing can hurt. There's nothing to hurt you. Expose your heart. Every moment is a practice. You are either practicing your knowing and being in a trance state where you're just on automatic pilot doing whatever you want to do, or it's a practice of love. And every moment can be that. Every moment. It isn't too much. Because there's nothing else to do, and you want to live in that freedom. You want to live in that awareness of all that is. So why would it be a struggle to be giving every moment to that? Eventually, it's going to be all that, so you might as well practice being all that and being in all that.
Mm. Mm.
And giving everything to that practice. I had a prayer that I have mentioned often. I had a prayer as I walked in the perception of a journey that I did not want to come back and do this again in pain and suffering. I did not want to. In that not wanting to do it again was the devotion to remembering. It was the fuel. It was, yes, I want to remember. Not because the world is so hateful, but because that's the truth of life. And I'm tired of living a lie. I'm tired of living in the shadows and in a fearful, painful place. I don't want to live there anymore. And once you embrace that, then why not give everything to it? Why settle for looking in the mirror at the idiot? I find that so funny. Because that's exactly what it is when you're looking in the mirror. You're looking in the mirror and you're thinking, oh, I've made up a whole story here. And it's so silly.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't have anything of value in it. There's worries that come up. Well, what's that? Oh, look, I think I've got another line, another wrinkle, another this, another or looking with disgust, or looking with, oh, I could be better, it could be worse, could be this, could be that, could be this, whatever. Or just happy, you're just in a trance. Like, I have to go look in the mirror every morning because that's what I do. The master is always wanting to help and say, why don't you stop looking in the mirror for a couple of days and starve it for a little while and see what happens. Thank you. Okay. Is the ego bent on resisting? Absolutely. But even that is a game. You believe in resistance, so that's what you pay attention to. I remember there was a teacher that I was in a healing, laying down at one point in a ritual, and he came over to me and he looked at me and he goes, what are you struggling with? And I thought, Well, that's really stupid. Of course I'm struggling. This is difficult. I wasn't ready yet to recognize that the whole idea of struggle, the whole idea that this was difficult was all made up too. It's just part of the defense system.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't, learning to love is not difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It's the resistance to it, the concepts that are being held, that are believed in, that seem to identify things as difficult. That's a deep study, because the idea of difficulty is very agreed on. But now is the time. What do you want? And do you want to question the validity of the habits, the ideas, the identities, the everything that comes out of the senses, everything? And not question it with judgment, but with, what did I think this was going to give me? What did I believe that I was going to get from this? What's it for? What's the hidden agenda that's running underneath? And if you ask, it will be revealed to you, because love wants to serve you. And then you're joining in love, because you're no longer entrenched in your finite identity with your world. There's nothing new about trusting. It's where you put your trust. You have trusted the world that you've known, the trusted the world that you have decided and planned and controlled in your beliefs. And now you're being called to put your trust
Mm-hmm.
in the masters that have been sent to you, to trust those sacred teachings, to really trust those sacred teachings, and to be willing to take the medicine of love. And the medicine are all the divine teachings. It's what the medicine is. The willingness to drink that medicine, to bring that medicine into the moment where you are. If you're in the kitchen, then what teachings are with you in that moment? What is your practice in that moment? How are you using that time, or are you just doing your dishes or whatever it is just to get that done? Or are you noticing the rhythm? Are you noticing what is possible here, and the union that's here, and the peace that's here, and the harmony, and that you're giving this moment into the hands of God to be used for love? That's the opportunity. That's what's available.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing can keep you from love. Nothing can keep you from remembering. And there is no one that has more to heal than someone else. Every ego is exactly the same. It's a defense system. You can believe that one is more than the other. But the power of love doesn't discern one ego from the other. Whatever is willing to be surrendered, whatever is being offered will be healed. Whatever is being questioned and put on the altar and no longer wanted as an ownership of a defense will be healed, because it's what you want. and you are so loved
Mm-hmm.
that God, love, all that is, will serve that willingness, will serve that wanting. Love cannot intrude. God cannot intrude. If you don't want to heal, if you say no and choose your knowing, love can't enter because it isn't invited. And that's where we have to recognize the choice, the constant choice. Choosing love, choosing a new way, choosing the teachings, choosing to not know, and to invite love's healing constantly. Make me an instrument of thy peace.
Mm-hmm.
As I let go, as I release. Make me an instrument humble and free as I surrender.
Mm-hmm.
So in this moment, if there are any questions,
I still need help in the healing here. I went from compulsively controlling my day to surrendering that. At first, there was a beautiful dance with guidance and surrender. And now in the empty space, the defense system keeps going back to if I don't start the day a certain way, which is prayer and meditation and A Course in Miracles, I'm often running with compulsive internet or eating or
habits of some kind.
Yeah.
Well, what is it that keeps you from starting the day with prayer and?
I do. I
But
start
then what takes you into forgetting? As
I
far
start
as
with-
you can see it.
with prayer and then A Course in Miracles, and then the last few days what's going on is when it's time to meditate. Either something comes up, like someone comes to the door for, to fix a repairman or something, and then it gets dropped. Somehow, I don't know what's going on. I assume it's acting out and
Yeah.
defense system, and then like today I didn't get to my meditation. But I start the day with the beginnings of calling in help and surrender.
You can be in a communion all day long. That's for sure. But it's the trance that says I have a world that I have to attend to that looks separate. But it isn't. You have to find the way that and ask for the way, that will help your particular strategy, whatever you want to call it, to keep coming back.
I think there's an anxiety that's coming up,
Mm-hmm.
that all of the control is kept under control.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm letting go and opening, I think that something that was undercover is coming up to be healed.
When there is the belief of control, which everybody has in one way or the other, when Jesus speaks of the vigilance, it's very purposeful. That wanting to control is like any addiction. It wants to be in charge. I mean, there's so much belief in payoff in it that it actually orchestrates everything so that there's a reason to forget. But the key is to keep coming back as soon as you remember, and to forgive. And if you spent the day just with a mantra that just said, what do I truly want? But really have it here. You know, what is it that I truly want? What is it that I truly want? And just allowing that to shake you out of the trance. Because you decided in the morning what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't yet fixed. I don't mean fixed like remedied, but it isn't fixed in its intention. So all day long, when I was walking in the journey, everywhere, it didn't matter where I was living, but everywhere that I lived, I had teachings everywhere, because I had to keep coming back to the truth, and I could just read one word, and it would bring me back to awareness after a while. I didn't have to actually, I had entered it so many times that it was there. I just would forget and lapse back into trance. And so everywhere I was, and when I went to work, I did the same thing. I had, every drawer had teachings inside, because that's what I wanted. It wasn't because I was being a good girl. It wasn't because that was what somebody else was doing. It was because I needed the medicine all day long. I needed transfusions. I needed a real transfusion all the time. And I had to recognize that I couldn't, and it wasn't because there was something wrong with me. It was because there wasn't a remembering that was yet solid. And so I had to, but nobody else could do that for me. Nobody else could make the alignment in what I would choose. So so that's what I had to do. I had to take the medicine all the time for a while, because I wanted to stay in that divine alchemy, and being reminded and choosing all the time, and not judging it. Not judging it if anybody else was doing it, or if it, it looked silly, or if it looked whatever. If somebody would come over and see, teachings all over everything, and so when I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth, there I would be looking at a teaching, or I would be looking at a picture of the Blessed Mother, or of, but I would really see it. I would have to really bring my attention to it and have that communion. Say, here we are brushing our teeth. I'm not here by myself. I'm with my Divine Mother. I'm with the guides that my teachers, my guides, they're all here. I would have to bring my attention back constantly. Until it's embedded. Until there's nothing else there really anymore. And even that's not awakening, but it's like it's just to be filled with the divine truth and just be in that communion. And in a way, as often as I speak of addictions, the other is an addiction. And in a way, you're taking a new addiction. But it's an addiction to love. And it's purposeful. And letting it have its way with me. It's like I woke up every day for months with a teaching about judgment right next to my bed. So it would be the first thing that I would focus on in the morning. That all judgment was self-attack. And I would focus on that teaching every morning, because the habit was, when I woke up, I would be in self-attack. I would be in judgment. I would be judging the day. I would be figuring things out. I would be, oh God, another day. Oh, this. Oh, what time is it? What is it? Whatever. And I would keep drinking until all I had to do was see the piece of paper, and I was back in that truth again. And whatever, everybody's got to find their own rhythm with it, but it's finding that that divine medicine, and to keep wanting the IV and not really wanting anything else. Wanting to be filled with the divine truth, and then questioning when I believed I was on my own. And being aware. I remember one day being at work, and a beloved walked in, someone that I didn't know. And this beloved said something loving, and I recognized I was so present in the moment that I recognized that I actually saw the no of accepting that love, because it's being present and really wanting to see what the strategies are that are coming up to get in the way. It's not that I was calling them up, but that's what instantly, I saw it come up instantly, and it was such a moment of gratitude for this angel that just walked in to offer this awareness of the resistance to love. And then in that awareness, I was also aware in that moment of how easily in the past I would accept attack, criticism. That was easy. Love wasn't so easy. Love was, and yet I was looking for love, but there was this no. And that's because it was my schoolroom. It wasn't any longer my work, my agenda, my goal, my success, my whatever. It was just the schoolroom, and it just happened to look like a workplace. It didn't matter where it was. So that's the relationship with it.
Mm-hmm.
That willingness is such a power if you choose to use it. If you choose to bring it and use that willingness to love, the willingness to transform. So in this moment, the willingness to sink into the heart, to join in holy union, to refuse to see any beliefs of separation, of separate identities, but the willingness to melt together as one. To lovingly serve every beloved's remembering. Gratefully accepting the divine alchemy, gratefully accepting the help that is always available, gratefully releasing, surrendering everything of this identity into the hands of love, and opening to the abundance of love in every form. In this moment, gratefully accepting the loving donations that help to serve this divine